Bada boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom, 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 boom. Damn it. How's it going, everybody? Oh, blistering -23 out here at Willow Project in the North Oil Fields of Alaska today. So warm, so warm. So, normally we do these things at night. So I got the purple lights on and the ambiance. But we've been sitting here for a while now, and still waiting on a damn loader to get here. But figured I'd figured I would do one of my figured I'd do one of my shows here while we're waiting. If the stuff will load up, why are you not connecting to the internet there, Mr. Tablet? Jeez, please. Come on. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. darken the screen up on this so you can see it. There we go. Hello. Goodbye. Welcome, welcome. Oh, all right. Well, we ain't got nobody in here, but that's all right. We'll get her going here. Welcome to Arctic Anaconda 907, where we go through the Reddit pages of Am I the Asshole Truckers Edition. Story today comes from Girth Hirsch, and he asks, Am I the a-hole for asking somebody to move their truck so I can load mine? I'll try to keep this calm and civil. My BIL brother-in-law, 42 male, lives next door to his parents, whom he and his wife have taken residence. Let's call him Roy. Oh, this is not trucking. What the hell? What the hell? It's like somebody having a problem with their neighbor. I'm not into that. You want to talk about that stuff? Go talk to Charlotte Dobre on that. I do the trucking industry. Am I the asshole? Okay, here we go. Here we go. This one comes from Dante Lore. Why are some truck drivers always angry? I knew from the beginning of my truck driving career that there are super truckers out there who always have an attitude. I didn't realize until yesterday the extent of it, though it was back-to-back encounters with petty a-hole drivers. I was parked over at a pilot in Indiana when other drivers started pounding on my door so hard I checked for dents afterwards. He was super angry and was shouting at me to move so he could get into a spot easier. It was definitely possible for him to get in there without me moving. What an entitled prick. 30 minutes later, I walk into the McDonald's connected to the pilot. Two drivers almost get into a fistfight because one of them thought the other was trying to cut in line. They were threatening to punch each other in the nose for 10 minutes, talking smack about each other's mothers. One of them even said he was glad that the other guy's mom is dead. Wow, god damn. Like, what the frick makes some of these truckers so unpleasant 24/7? You know what, Dante Lure, I gotta say, there's a lot of stress out there. Being a father, being a parent, and being away from home. And a lot of that stress that we take on with our job as being truck drivers, commercial drivers, you miss out a lot. I can count. Well, I'd have to count on both hands and take the shoes off, and I still wouldn't have enough digits to count up how many times I've missed a birthday or a recital or a game of some sort. I mean, I missed out a lot on my children's lives, and with my wife also, I missed a lot of things, a lot of holidays I've missed, and we hold on to that stress because we have to be out in the community. We are classified as professional drivers. We are responsible for this truck and the car next to us and the car ahead of us and the car behind us and the car that we haven't even passed 15 miles up the road. Um, so, there's a lot of stress on our shoulders. And sometimes, sometimes it takes one little thing. It takes one little thing that you're trying to maintain that line, that level of going overboard and staying in control. You're right on that line. And sometimes it's just the little things that happen that cause us to just snap and lose that touch with reality and that touch with control. Um, I myself had an instance where I was at home. This last time when I was at home, the wife ordered Subway, and I told her, I said, don't order Subway from the North Pole. Don't order Subway from our Subway in North Pole. By the way, for all of you that are here, I'm from Alaska. I live in North Pole, Alaska, just outside of Fairbanks. I said every time we get food from there, they mess my sandwich up every single time. So I told her, I said, don't order it from there. But she did, and the order was messed up. Now, I instantly went and thought, okay, Subway screwed up my order again, without a doubt. And it wasn't the case. The wife had put the order in incorrectly. And I looked at the receipt, and I looked at the DoorDash on her phone, and I was like, honey, you screwed this up. And it started an argument. And it was just that little, over a sandwich, it started an argument that had been boiling up between the two of us. And I talk about stress out on the road. Um, but there's also stresses at home for us because of our job. Um, I mean, I just turned 48, and I'm in that red zone. I am definitely in that red zone for a lot of things to happen, uh, and the stress levels are just so high that you got to find a way to de-escalate a lot of things. You got to find a way to de-stress yourself. Um, I come on here. I used to come on here and I used to hop into the political rooms and I used to you know, do the things, get into the heated arguments with people, uh, and just get really riled up. And I don't do it anymore because it's not worth it to me to get into that. Um, I tend to hop into rooms that are a little more chill, a little more relaxed. Every once in a while, I'll go back to those things, but for the most part, I don't get into those political rooms anymore. It's just too much stress. Uh, as far as the guy banging on your door there for a spot so it can make it easier for him, I mean, would it be too much for you to move your truck over just a little bit to allow somebody who might have had a long day? He might have had a really long day and a really bad day and dealt with some people out on the road or a shipper or a receiver, and he's just having a crummy fucking day. And maybe just your little act of kindness could have alleviated that for him a little bit. Maybe helped him along. I get it. He banged on your door, super angry. But like I said, you don't know what the next person that you're talking to is going through. You don't know what they've gone through that day. And to have a little kindness and act a little kinder to your fellow truck driver, not even your fellow human, just your fellow truck driver. Be like, hey, I don't know what kind of day you had. Sure, let me move over a little bit for you, give it a little extra room. I can't call you an a-hole for that. I can't call you an asshole for not wanting to help somebody out. As far as that thing in the McDonald's, that could have been just those guys were both of them on their last straw. I mean, we're so pushed on a lot of things that like I said, that stress level is just up there. So I turned yours into a am I the a-hole, which it wasn't. It was more of a question of why are people so angry? Why are truck drivers so angry? And yeah, hopefully that gives a little insight. Maybe think about it next time when you got a guy knocking on the door to ask if they can move over a little bit, so it makes it easier for them to get in their spot. Who knows? Maybe you might be that guy someday who's asking for somebody to move. So there you go, Dante Lure. You are not the asshole, but skirting that line. This comes from the Reddit pages of trucking, and it is from Dependent Jicama 843. She says she has a question for you truckers. I was driving south on 95 somewhere in South Carolina and witnessed something absolutely infuriating. A truck on the left lane was intentionally staying side by side with an oversized load to his right and doing 60 in a 70. The line built up behind him was longer than I could see behind me. Eventually, he moved over and got all the horns and fingers you would imagine. All the fingers. All the fingers. All the jazz fingers. Is there any sort of legitimate reason for doing such a thing, or was this guy just that much of an asshole? It's honestly not even funny in the slightest either. I was driving 9 hours with a 1 year old. Fricking with our timing and flowing is just a straight piece of shit move. Not everyone is just in a rush for no good reason. Jicama 843, I got to tell you, I don't know. I mean, there's some missing information there, but generally, when we're going down the road, if we have an oversized ahead, they have maybe they don't have a pilot, maybe they do have a pilot, depending on the width of the size. You're allowed up to 10.6 without a pilot, so you can go down the road at 10 feet 5 inches wide. And maybe that driver was, the other driver saw something up ahead that was on his right hand side that he would have to avoid a little bit. And the other driver was just kind of helping him block off that lane so that that driver with the wide load could be able to get around that obstacle without having all the four wheelers jacked in and next to him and choking him up on there. It's a possibility. That's what I would see it as. Yeah, there's sometimes that there's some stuff that we do that you don't quite understand, and there are other times, and I'm not going to say every time, but there are other times when a driver is just being a complete a hole, uh, blocking cars off and not letting you pass. Um, for whatever reason that they do it for. They have their reason. That's their reason. We don't know. We don't have. You don't have a sign on the back of our truck saying, "Hey, I feel like being an asshole today. Just watch out." I mean, if you did, you guys had a sign, a LED sign on the back of our trucks that say, "Hey, we're in a bad mood today. Watch out for me." That would be a pretty clear indication that you want to come around us and get on down the road. It'd be very helpful for everybody. But we don't have that. Reading from some of the comments down below, driver was just an asshole, although he shouldn't have stayed next to the oversized vehicle. Pass carefully and keep it moving. I mean, yeah, you can do with that. Intelligent Candy 8716 says, I love it when non-truckers assume they know what the truck drivers are doing or thinking. Listen, Karen, we're out here busting our asses, making some personal sacrifices out on the road every day, making sure that your life continues generally uninterrupted. we do feed America. I mean, the farmers feed you, but we bring it to market. We bring it to you guys. Everything you wear, everything that you drink, everything you consume, all your consumables. Wipe your ass. We brought it all. Not asking for a pat on the back. I'm just pointing out the facts. And what do we get for it? Harassed and insulted by every other vehicle out there because we are in your way. And we don't understand how important you and your time is. You know what? We're just trying to get from point A to point B as fast as we can, or getting home to the people we love. And most of the time, we try to give common courtesy to other drivers. But after enough bullshit, we eventually just don't give a shit anymore. Truth. And once in a while, some self-righteous asshole really pisses us off. So get over yourself, Karen. Calm your shit. Take a breath. Merry Christmas. I hope Santa brings you a soul and keeps in mind that every gift you give or receive was possible because of us truckers. That's a pretty fair assessment. Now, I mean, there's some people that could take that straight comment and that criticism and go, yeah, you know what, you're right. And there's some people that are just going to blow up and they'll be like, but you're blocking me. You're taking too much time passing him, and just 30 seconds, guys. It takes 30 seconds generally out of your day to be a little patient and allow something to happen. Says actual AD 6146 says, so you're not a trucker, but you want to jump on a trucker forum and start talking shit about truckers? Nobody cares, guy. Must be really looking for a fight today, and this is not the place to start poking a stick. Yeah, you get a bunch of angry truckers in a Reddit page, and yeah, keyboard Rambos all around. Balt Bomb says, I have done this. The reason there was a funeral procession in front of us, and I was blocking the lane to prevent people from passing and not showing some respect. The procession only traveled to the next exit. That's a perfectly legitimate reason for why we would do something like that. I mean, the moral compass of this country is kind of off kilter right now. You know, it used to be that you showed respect for a funeral procession. You don't pass it at all. It doesn't matter if you're late for something or, unless it's an emergency, you don't pass the funeral procession. And actually, in some states, it is actually illegal to pass a funeral procession. It's not your job to be traffic monitor. If it was that big of a deal, they would have police doing it. Well, I mean, yeah. Someone pissed him off. Aya's dad says someone pissed him off would be my guess. We're bored and we understand the flow of traffic much better than you average four-wheelers, and for some insane reason, some people think it's a good idea to fuck with us. I say that to say this. I've done this. I've laughed my ass off while driving. I'm trying to stick it to lose his shit behind me, swerving, giving me the finger, etc. But there's such a thing as too excessive. Anything more than a couple minutes is just antagonizing at that point. That's just my experience. Could be a number of reasons, though mostly it boils down to pride thing. It boils down to we've had enough of your shit, and we just want to aggravate somebody who's been just one person out of the hundreds of vehicles that pass us. We're just trying to just aggravate one person. Okay, let's go on. Let's find another story to read here. I came up with this idea for the show. I came up with this idea for the trucking Reddit. Am I the asshole? And sometimes it's hard to find the stories that I want to read because people convolute trucking with driving a truck, like a pickup truck. No, we're talking 80,000 pounds of steel and produce and rolling down the road at 65, 70. That's the type of trucking we're talking about. All right. Our next story comes from Hob 512. Shippers and receivers that act like shippers and receivers that act Like, you're an idiot for not knowing specifically how their facility operates. Do they not know that every place is different? I asked which bay to line up for since there was no signage or indications of where to go, and I'd never been there. The guy acts like I'm dumb for not being omnipotent. Boy, you used a big word there, Hobbs. I try to shrug it off most of the time. Maybe there was a sign I missed. Maybe the guy had a shitty day and didn't mean to act that way, but sometimes I just like to complain, I guess. So, let's go to the. No, we're not going to go to the comments quite yet. I have run into this personally. Even up here in Alaska, I've run into this where you show up to a site. There's no direction. There's no anything. You're just kind of there, and you're looking around for somebody to offload you, and when they do, they think they think that you should know how everything operates, how they do their offloading or whatever, whatever you may have it. Or like you said, there was nothing on a door, no signage, no numbers, no nothing, and you said, "Hey, where do you want me?" I mean, we get there, we don't know anything. We know we have a load that you need delivered, and we know that we need to deliver it, and that's our main goal is to get in there, get offloading, get out, because our clock counts down to zero. Starts off, I think, lower 48, you start off at 15 hours, and up here in Alaska, we start out at 20 hours. So, we're sitting there like we got our day planned out from the moment we wake up. We got our day planned out, and we're gonna try and stick to that. But yeah, to go in someplace and then the receiver to think that you should know how everything operates here. Yeah, you're all different. Every operation is different to some degree. There are key factors that are the same. You have a dock, we have a load, we back in, you offload, we leave. Those things are always constant. Those 5 things right there, always constant. Bam, 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 bam. Now, how you do it, the way you do it, and the time that you do it, and the manpower that you use, that can vary from every single shipper receiver can be different all the way across the lane. So, yeah, I mean, you're not the asshole for that, buddy. But let's go to the comments here. I love these people. Once I went to check in, there's a sign-in sheet, and the woman at the desk, 10 feet behind a plexiglass window. I sign in and stand there staring at her for like 5 minutes. So I just walked out the door. All my info is on the sheet: phone number, pickup number, destination, etc. She starts banging on a window to get me to come back. I go back, and she says, "We don't just sign in and leave." Okay, bitch, maybe do your job the first time. Acknowledge my presence. I guarantee dollars to donuts you did not say, okay, bitch, maybe do your job first time and acknowledge my presence. I guarantee you didn't have the balls to do that, because I would have. I've done it plenty of times. I've gotten calls from dispatch too afterwards saying, "Hey, you can't do that." Be like, "Well, you know what? They would have got off their fucking ass, and instead of sitting behind the fucking chair eating fucking donuts and drinking their fucking latte and acknowledge me, I mean, we'd be in and out of here. But now I got to sit here and dick off with fucking Rosie May." Anyway, I divulge. I was picking up at a paper mill in Idaho. Waited forever to be acknowledged. Finally got paperwork, and I asked where my trailer is. Bitch gets frustrated like I should know or something. Tells me where I need to go, and I'm like, "Where do you want the empty at?" She blows her top and tells me to just drop it anywhere. Oh dear God. So I oblige. Don't go off on a driver and then just say put it anywhere. You will not like what happens after that. So I obliged. Dropped that bitch right in the middle of the entrance. I was banned, but I didn't plan on going back anyway. Don't ever, 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 ever piss off a truck driver and then say, "I don't care where you put it," because we will find the place that you really, 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 really wish we would have done. And we'll be like, "Hey, you told me anywhere. That was the spot I saw. That's where it went." So, yeah, don't do that. That was a bad move on your part, honey. You go to one place and they tell you to come in and check inside the shack. Next place you go to, Get out to check in, and that bitch and moan telling you to stay in your truck. Well, damn, man. I can't read minds. Pick up a fucking sign or something. Okay, I'm going to go back to the constants. We show up, we have a load, we back into a door, you offload, we leave. Those 5 constants. Yes. There is another one. Stay in your truck, apparently, is their 6. Stay in your truck. I don't know why. Like, they treat it like it's a police stop. Stay in your vehicle. What the fuck? What? I got shit I got to do. If I got to be outside my vehicle, I'm gonna be outside my vehicle. Not a damn thing you're gonna do about it. Man, I got. Ass Bandit 65 says, "Man, I got screamed at once for trying to drive inside the gate before I stopped to check in at an AC place in Colorado. She opened the gate when I pulled up, so I figured I should drive through and then go to the guard shack. She did not agree with that decision. She calmed down eventually, but she lost her fucking mind for a while at the start. Then, when I went to leave, she wanted to check the chains on the load. I had ratchet binders, and she grabbed the handle and turned it in a different direction. It free-spooled and told me my chains were loose. She was nicer after I explained how a ratchet binder works. Yeah, you don't touch shit. I mean, don't. Why? Why would you even do that? Good God. All right. Hobbs 512. I'm going to say you're not the asshole in this one. You're not an idiot either. We know our jobs. Our jobs are to show up, back up, offload, paperwork signed, and get the flock out of there. That's all we want to do. Now, if you shippers and you receivers would just get with the program on that, hey, things would work a lot smoother. But, you know, if you got to have your policies and procedures for whatever reason you have to have them, I get it. But those 5 things right there, we show up, we back in, we offload or load, get the paperwork signed, and we're out. You do those things as quickly as possible, you will see less of us for longer periods. You'll see less of us for shorter periods, I should say. Thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate that. All right. Our next story comes from Eclipse 2025, and it reads, "Am I the a-hole truck driver at Love's?" So, a bit of context. Oh, we always love context because that sets the scene. It sets the story just right. I pulled into a Love's truck stop in Fairfield, Texas. They have 5 pumps, a small parking lot with plenty of spots, and I'm number 3 in line to trucks waiting to get into the pumps. I've been driving 2 years, all CDL 18-wheelers, dry van and reefer. Pumps 1 and 2 are non-CDL trucks with trailers, and 3 to 5 are CDL trucks with trailers. Truck 1 in lane gets into pump 4. Then a few minutes later, truck 2 pulls into pump 3. At some point, another truck pulls in behind me, maybe several, not sure. A few minutes later, pump 1 looks to start to free up, and I jump into my Love's app to pre-book my pump. So all I have to do is engage it to start fueling. After pump 1 pulls out, I pull in and start fueling and see that pump 2 is just sitting in his truck and not fueling and on his phone. After I get my fuel going, I try to be as nice as possible and ask if he's getting fuel. He says yes, but doesn't elaborate. I'm still not. I'm still trying not to be rude, but I kind of think I was in the end, since he'd been sitting there for at least 10 minutes. Say he should have pulled up since there is a line behind us. Since rule of thumb for diesel pumps is if you aren't fueling, it's common courtesy to pull out of the pumps in the designated area or into parking. And he's like, fuck that. Do you own this gas station? No, I don't. But if you aren't fueling, you need to get off the pumps, dude. After that, he goes inside to do who knows what. I understand that the non-CDL business needs some kind of authorization to get fuel or a check to pay for his gas, but that doesn't give you the right to just sit in the pumps when the station has a line of trucks behind it waiting to get fuel. If they need authorization, pull into the parking lot. Get your set authorization, then pull to a pump. Don't just hog the pumps for who knows how long. Several other truckers could have already gone through and gotten fuel. So if said driver reads this, I apologize if I was rude to you. There was some information I didn't have. You were sitting there for like a while. So any other driver is able to say yay or nay on this, because I feel like I was, but yet he was as well. Eclipse 2025. This is it's not the biggest thing, but it's one of the things that we have to deal with every night, every morning, however you want it, whenever you get your fuel, is those guys that pull into the fuel station and they sit there and they go in and they take a shower and their truck's sitting at the pump and just infuriates everybody because, like, we want to get in there, we want to get our fuel, we want to get to bed, had a long day. There's the do and don'ts that you definitely do and do not do, and sitting there like that is a big do not do that at all. You just piss everybody off behind you. I mean, it's like Landman. I say Landman. Like Landman when they first did the scene with the coffee shop. You know, the first one, all the guys got black coffee, and then Tommy's son, he wanted some fruit coffee, and they're like, "Are you serious? Are you freaking kidding me?" And then as she's making it, everybody behind the line is honking, getting pissed off, and it's the same concept. Everybody's getting delayed. Their clock's running out as you're sitting there because a lot of these people. I mean, me personally, I throw the shit in off duty, and then I don't have to worry about it. But these guys, their clocks are running out. Since the rule of thumb for diesel pumps is if you aren't fueling, it's common courtesy to pull out of the pumps in designated area in the parking. That is the rule for all pumps. Everywhere, diesel and unleaded alike. Only assholes remain parked in front of pumps when they're not actively fueling. Yeah, you get your fuel, you go. Kind of like at a gas station. Get your fuel and go. It used to be you either had to pay before you pump. Used to be that way. Now with all the technology we have and all the gas tests and everything, you pay before you pump or you pay at the pump. While you tell your story about how you met an asshole today, I guarantee that guy tells stories about how everyone he met that day was an asshole. Funny how that always happens to him. Yeah, true. Euphoric Tribble says, I work for Loves. Drivers like you are our heroes. The driver you had this interaction with, they are the reason we have to have a button on the diesel desk registers for drivers to pull forward, and we still sometimes have to get on the intercom asking them to move or be towed. Our jobs would be 100 times more simpler if there were more drivers like you, OP. Not the asshole. No, you're not the asshole today, buddy. Not the asshole, Eclipse 2025. You are fucking nailing it on the head, brother. Nailing it on the head. Not the asshole, Eclipse 2025. Alrighty. Our next story comes for Mr. Rock Racing. How long is too long when backing? He says, for reference, I've been driving since 2020, but really a total of 3 years if I count my off times and not working times. Anyway, I work for the big blue guys now. That'd be Werner? Or Melton? Not sure. Anyway, and as such, everyone is already ready for me to hit. Oh, Swift. I bet you it's Swift. Because he says, as such, everyone is already for me to hit something or screw up. I bet you it's Swift. Phones come out every other day for mundane tasks that not even the greenest rookie would screwed up. Anyway, after being up at 4 a.m. and on duty at 11 and driving until 11 p.m. and getting a whole bunch of other things done, including checking on my nephew who had surgery today and other emotional personal things, it was time to park. So I get to the stop. It's super tight. Not literally, but the guys in the across row are too far forward. Nobody else could get in there. Bar one guy who did the same thing I did, but he had a flatbed and could see. So I set up and start backing. The angle has to be perfect. So I start and goal like 10 to 12 times. Now, for you people who don't know what goal means, GOAL, that means get out and look. You get out and look behind you when you're backing into a very questionable or a tight spot. I was in the hole, good to go. But the guy in the rig on the blind side blares on his horn. I don't think I'm anywhere near him, but he thinks I'm going to hit him. I try to explain to him that I have to walk the tandems past the other guy's bumper and then 90 it around, and that it won't actually hit him. It'll just take some time. He calls me an asshole. Asshole. And then asks howling, and then he then asks how long I've been driving. Says I should listen to good advice, and when I tell him instead of being an asshole about it, you could help or move over a little bit into that empty spot next to you for a second, he just backs into his rig, gives me the finger, and slams the door. Now I'm distracted. I then start going again, but boy, I'm paranoid. And thus I start goaling after every 2 feet. One guy finally showed up and wanted to pass. There was no space. I apologize to him. He tells me I'm doing it wrong and that I need to pull up straight and then back in. I try to tell him if I do that, I won't have room to come out of it because of the guys in the across row. He tells me I don't know what I'm doing and is angry he has to wait while I goal so many times. Goal! He says, yeah, soccer reference. He says, who gave you your license? He proceeds to keep yelling. I keep doing what I'm doing because at this point, if I try to give up and pull out, the trailer will clip the other guy. The trailer will swing and will clip the other angry guy's rig. Here comes another guy recording me and shaking his head at me for taking too long. By now, guy one is hopping out of his rig ready to fight. I started fucking with him, admittedly. The next and last couple times I gold, I made it. Point to point and yell, hey, look, I'm doing it again, a-hole. I finally got in and had to then wiggle it over 7 times, at which point he could have driven off or began to park. He just sat there and then sped off angrily after I adjusted several times. Now, to be clear, I don't have any trouble with backing. Actually, I've gotten compliments before from other drivers at locations, and even been told that I was the only one who didn't refuse to get into certain spots. This was a uniquely challenging situation, all made worse by my sheer exhaustion and agitation. And yes, I am aware that it was an excessive amount of time. However, nobody else can get in this spot on the other side of the angry guy. 6 other guys have come through and tried and gave up. I would have done the same, but I needed to park here. So instead of giving up, I took my time and got into a spot that nobody else can, and according to the guy next to me, was impossible. However, I have to ask because my social anxiety won't let me move on. Am I in the wrong here? Was I the asshole here? I feel like I was doing my job the way I always have and the correct way by goaling or getting out and looking as many times as I feel I had to. But I don't like my experience being questioned like that, and I don't want to piss anyone off. But I don't see how I could have gotten into this space any other way. The whole month has been a nightmare, but for some reason, this has gotten me shaken the most. I guess I take serious pride in my skill as a driver. Am I the asshole here, or should I have moved on and PC to another parking location? You, sir, I'm going to go right off the back, Mr. Rock Racing. I'm going to go right off the back. You are not the asshole in the trucking community. It doesn't matter how many times you have to get out or how long it takes you to back up. I get it. There's other shit going on. There's guys that want to get out. People are worried about you hitting because, you're with the big blue guy. The big blue guys now. You're a Swift driver. So I get that. I get that you have that moniker over your head of Swift drivers are bad drivers. But it doesn't matter how long it takes you. It doesn't matter how many tries it takes you to get in. As long as you get in safely and you don't hit anybody and you don't break any of your equipment, I don't care how many times you do it. I mean, I'm a flatbedder, and 90%, 99.9% of my work is flatbedding. So, I don't have that problem like you have. Plus, I'm in Alaska, so a lot of it's open. If we have to back, It's very seldom. Not to say that I can't, because I run doubles and I can back up a set of doubles just fine. But yeah, fuck that guy in the truck next to you. That asshole that came out just fucking ripping you. Coat hanger abortion. Coat guy in the truck next to you. That asshole that came out just fucking ripping you. Coat hanger abortion. Coat hanger underscore abortion says, some days I just can't get the trailer to do what I want, and I'll take it, and it'll take me a minute, or I gotta set up again. Doesn't matter how long you take, as long as you didn't hit anything. Fuck it. That's right. As long as you don't hit anything, fuck it. Goal as many times as you need. Just don't hit the truck. Sounds like you did everything right. Truckers will worry about being hit because it costs time if they are, but you did everything right. Don't worry about it. Edit to add, driving 13 years, and sometimes I can't park for shit. Sometimes we're not all perfect, you know. I I can think of a couple of times where it took me way longer than it should have, but I didn't give a fuck. I didn't hit anything. I didn't cause any damage, and it was just time wasted by me of other people, unfortunately. Durham says, well, just take your time and be safe as best you can. Had a driver backing in near me the other day. Could tell by hearing his brakes he was a rookie. Looked out the curtain and saw him zigging and zagging when the truck was near the other trucks in the hole. It was at night, foggy, drizzle. Lot was super dark, so we had it tough for everyone. I got out and told him he will get into trouble zigging zagging like that. Plus, he has a ton of space to just pull up and back straight up. At about 3 truck trailer lengths of space in front of him, many of the spots, but failed to see it. Anyway, or always go for the easiest back. I keep telling him you couldn't get it lined up due to not seeing anything out there. I backed it up for him as the trucks were pulling in. Rosie was going to freeze up soon. He was out there doing this for half an hour. Had a hard time seeing lines myself, and I told him that this would be hard for anyone. But still take the easy way out every time if it's safe and legal parking spot. Told me he had been driving 2 weeks, was happy to be parked. Every other driver pulling was having a rough time that night. The TA and Eaton. Oof. I thought you said you backed. I thought you meant you backed it in for him, not like you know, like you pulled him out and hopped in and said, "Here, let me show you how to do it." I've seen that happen a few times. Jason Unlimited says, you are not the asshole here. If you got it in without hitting anything, then others gave up. You should be proud of your backing skills, no matter how many times you got out. I also would have started messing with them. They deserve it for being so damn rude and impatient. Don't let haters drag you down. You won all around, in my opinion. Yeah, Jason Unlimited, I agree with you. Yeah, don't let others get to you. You are the one controlling that vehicle, not them. Hell, I've witnessed my own father, who drove 30 plus years, not be able to park worth a shit sometimes. Doesn't matter how much experience you have, there will always be days like I'll take you long. There will always be days it'll take you longer to park, and you'll wonder if you've gone brain dead. I'm going brain dead reading. Either way, at the end of the day, you got it there without fucking shit up, and that's all that matters. Skinny G80, dude, I'm not reading that whole shit, but like an old guy trucker told me once, there's only one rule: don't hit anything. Other than that, everyone's waiting or whatever can eat a dick, and that's what I tell you guys honestly. I don't mind waiting for someone to back. I usually can do paperwork or something in that time, and I don't know, be a nice guy and get out and watch his blind side for him. There's a fucking concept. Be helpful, not a hindrance, drivers. Be helpful to one another, not a hindrance. Oh, and get Barna. Don't point it at anyone or threaten anyone. Just make sure they see you have it. Solves a lot of problems real quick. People aren't so tough once they hop out of their happy home. Barna? Brenna? Beretta? Maybe means Beretta? I don't know. Yeah, their happy home. Oh, and I did kind of read it. Not the ass, just the rookie. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years in the trucking community. Still a rookie, buddy. Still a rookie. Man, that was a good one. I like that one. All right. Next story comes from Goddess Hippie. Am I the asshole for yelling, "You're welcome" to a truck driver? This is a super minor thing, but I immediately felt somewhat bad about it, so I wanted to see what people thought. This morning, I stopped at a gas station to get a drink and parked in one of about 10 parking spaces against the wall, which are the only parking spaces on that side. As soon as I park, a gas truck comes around the side of the station. The driver yells to me, "You're kind of blocking me." So I move my car to a non-spot against the gas station. Here's where I may be the asshole. I'm heading into work, and yesterday sucked. So I'm a bit irritable, and I see the guy's window is down, and he has said nothing along the lines of "thanks for moving." So I said, "You're welcome," and what I'm sure sounded very sarcastic. I then went into the store to get my drink, and when I came out, he passed me and said, "Did you say you're welcome?" With a somewhat incredulous grin. I said, "Yes," because I kindly moved over, but I also kept walking because I was in a hurry and didn't want to have an actual confrontation with the dude outside a gas station. It's a total non-event, but I felt like I may have been kind of pissy, and I'm wondering if I was in the wrong. I was blocking him, but if he had come around 10 seconds later, my car would have been parked in a spot and I would have been in the store. Edit, he said, "Did you say you're welcome?" Not, "Did you say thank you?" Uh, mm, it's a toughie. That's a toughie on that one. Actually, no, it's not a toughie. I'm gonna go with "you're not the asshole" in this one. Uh, they say chivalry is dead. They say common courtesy and being nice to each other is dead. I say bullshit. I I still have manners. I still hold open doors for people, men and women. Not only women. Um, and when I hold the door open, 9 times out of 10, that person will say "thank you," and I'll be like, "Oh, no problem," or "you're welcome." You know, common pleasantries. And then there's that one that walks through and just doesn't say anything. Not a nod, not an eye contact, not a smile, nothing. I'll even take those into account. Like if I open a door and you do the nod or you make eye contact and you give a little head nod, I'll even go so far as take that as a compliment or a thank you for doing that. But when I just sometimes when I hold the door open for somebody and then they just walk through and they don't say anything or acknowledge me or what I did, I just want to I just want to grab them by the back of the collar and I want to drag them back outside and then slam the door in front of them and then look at them and then walk away. Like, if you're not, I'm showing you courtesy, and if you're not gonna show me courtesy, well then fuck you. You can do it on your own. Take two, buddy. Uh, let's go to some of the comments here. But only slightly so. Seems like both you guys were having tough mornings and forgot to do the standard pleasantries. Just remember that if you felt like you were having a rough morning due to stress, the other stranger might also be having a bad day. That's why it's always better to be nice and move on. That being said, don't dwell on it too long. It's not a big deal. Frunk87 says NTA, not the a-hole. You were parked in a legal spot and only moved to do this guy a favor. It's nice he said thanks, and it's nice that you said you're welcome, even if it wasn't sarcastic. Not the asshole, not the asshole. Okay, sure, if you said that one to me, I would be a little pissed. But approach a stranger in a parking lot, it's a mega weird. So yeah, we're gonna go with godless hippie, not the asshole in this situation. That is my final decision. Anyway, folks, this has been Arctic Anaconda 907 come to you from K2 Pad out at the Willow Project in the North Slopes of Alaska. We're going to hop on over to YouTube. You can check me out at YouTube, Arctic Anaconda 907. Like, share, subscribe over there. Like the video here for me. Show the love. Really appreciate it. Brand new to the scene and trying to do my damnedest with this new venture. So give me a holler, show me a comment, and we'll see you. Keep the shiny adventure. So give me a holler, show me a comment, and we'll see you. Keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down, and we'll see you on the flip side. Hi, Katie Bug. Oh, she ain't